All right, here we are with video number 2. Subject title: So why were we leaving the U.S.? What made us decide to go? I think I've got to take ownership of the kicking of that off. 10 years ago, I predicted a war. Didn't know with who or what, but the charts, the historical references, everything I could find suggested that over the next 10 years that it would be due. And guess what? This is the 10th year. So we started 5 last year. We've shut one down, if I'm not mistaken, so far this year. But we're going to talk about why we're leaving. And number 1 on our list is retirement. So if you try to retire in the U.S., what does that look like? To me, what I see, you pay into a system called Social Security, which the politicians quickly spend. Doesn't matter which party. The spend rate is basically, it's an IOU at this point, and you hope to get something back from that in some amount. We've done our math that we think, because there isn't really any way to know what that will look like, that if it still exists by the time I get to retirement 4 years from now, that it will be about $4,000 a month. Anybody out there be able to live on $4,000 a month for 2 people? Even if we own the home free and clear, taxes and insurance at today's prices, it'll swallow you whole once you throw healthcare in and you pay for your healthcare. Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare don't kick in for 3 more years past that. And if someone is out there knows something that we get wrong regarding to retirement, we are still researching all this. We would love to hear what we got wrong so that everybody else knows, right? So feel free to add in the comments. Where am I? I lost my track. This is all off the cuff, by the way. We don't really have a script. So the retirement thing is you might get it, and you don't really know how much. And you don't know if they'll change the rules before you get there. So if I stay here, not only do I not have enough at, let's just call it $50,000 a year, to pay for taxes, insurance, and healthcare, how am I going to eat, drive a car, get medications, so on and so on and so on? I don't see how that's possible. I don't have a massive bank account. We paid our house off, what, two or 3 years ago? And we still can't make it work. So sell the house. Okay, well, now where are you living? You can adjust your monthly expenses there and eliminate your taxes, but what kind of a lifestyle are you living? So for me, it's hugely retirement. I saw it as that there's a no-win. For me, I got wiped out when I was 42 by my ex. $1 million gone in 9 months. And I had to start over, which started at college all the way forward, which I then had to pay for that, and continue forward with life to build up to what I could get back by the time I retired. It's not a large window of time to work with. So what about anything I left out that you can think of in retirement that I haven't covered?
I don't think so. I just think that for me, it's important to be able to continue to do what I enjoy doing now when I retire. And I, personally don't want to work until I'm 70, 75. I think that, I feel like I've put my time in, and 62 is a good age to retire. That's when you can take your retirement and your Social Security, and that's what makes sense for us. And so that's kind of what it looks like for me. If I retire at 62 here, I'm basically shut down because there's no way to afford just even the basic things that I do now. Because I do a lot of very specialty things as far as supplements and nutrition and exercise and things like that would be too expensive if I wasn't working full time. So
another thing from my side is that the math works out that if I was to sell everything and liquidate completely, and I mean everything, You're gonna put everything you own in a suitcase. You've sold everything else. And I go to another country. I can retire today in style and go places and see a whole other continent that I'm never going to be physically able to do if I wait 10 more years. So it's a quality of life too. So I really feel like I shouldn't have drank that third cup of coffee before doing this. So that's probably the biggest reason overall is how are you going to pay to stay? That's it. Topic number 2, healthcare. Again, how are you going to pay to stay? If you stay, if I'm not mistaken, 25 years ago, what was considered catastrophic back then was $1,200 a month when I was self-employed, and I was way younger than I am now. And it was a $5,000 around that deductible, so they didn't pay anything until I paid $5,000. How do you do that? The place that we're looking at going, $70 a month for a private healthcare plan that covers more stuff than we get covered here, as far as our research has told us so far. So, $140 a month for the two of us for healthcare versus $4,000 and change a month, and they don't cover anything. And when you go to a place here, it's not even feeling like healthcare anymore. I'm more of a customer than a patient. Now, I will say this for the structure of the hospitals, not necessarily the staff on the floor doing the actual patient care. Big difference between management and money and government rules and structures and things like that. But on the floor people, yes, but their hands are tied, a lot like the teachers are. So healthcare is kind of important when you're getting older, right? So down where we're going, the healthcare, you don't even need healthcare really. A lot of expats don't buy it. They just make a phone call. They pull in, they write a check, and they're out the door because it's so cheap down there. To give you an idea, we both had injuries recently or problems that we wanted an MRI for. Both got denied for both times on me and once for her. They wouldn't even talk about my back. So down there, the insurance companies don't get to decide what I do and don't do. I go down there and tell the doctor, hey, I want an MRI today. Here's $170. Did you guys hear that number? Let me say it again, $170 for an MRI. How much is it here in the state? $3-4 grand? So you can afford to do that. And you can usually get an appointment that day. Some of the places that I've heard of in Ecuador, there was a very long story about a guy who went to Ecuador, $300,000 back surgery here, $3,000 down there. Same care, medically trained in the U.S., successful operation, $3 grand. You could, number one bankruptcy. Number one thing in the U.S., what causes home families to go bankrupt? Healthcare. Your health goes, and the rest of the family goes with you. So, think about that, kids. I'm saving you a lot of money. Anything to add? You're in the healthcare, so.
No, I just think that it's one of the things we want to do when we go visit is that we're going to be looking at the healthcare system and possibly, looking at the hospitals and actually going through them. And I know we plan on getting an MRI and seeing how all of that works. So we'll be checking it out. And, I worked in the laboratory as a medical technologist for over 20 years. And so I would like to go into one of the labs that they have and see if they would allow me. I don't know if they would, because that's kind of, sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. So, but it would be interesting for me to check that out. So.
Yeah, I'm interested to check a lot of stuff out in the medical side. So what I see coming. So even this is mostly targeted at friends, family, coworkers, and so on right now. So most of you know the basics about both of us. It's not really, we're not making any money on this. We don't have any sponsors or anything like that. We're doing this just to share our adventure with you and to make it simpler for us to. Everybody's gonna scream, why didn't I get a picture? Why didn't I get a phone call? Why didn't I? Okay, well, you can all log in one spot and get anything you want, and maybe you'll learn something about another country. But well, I didn't even know what it was called, what I was doing when I was just very interested in finance. I was interested in how the systems worked. How do you invest? I read books. I went to seminars. I went to week-long outings, I'll call them. I've had, 10 mentors over the years that I've followed and done audio tapes on, done videos, went to shows, so on and so forth. Read several books. I found out what I was doing is called a macro forecaster. So I follow geopolitics, I follow global finance, and I watch the economics and try to learn the economic models of countries and how they function and forecast my predictions into the future. And I've been doing this for over 30 years. I'm getting pretty good at what's going to happen. It's really hard to figure out when. I usually see things many years before they happen, like predicting that we would go to war 10 years ago. That wasn't something like you could just say, well, you missed. Well, maybe it is 11. I don't know, 9. The math says it's going to happen. So I see a financial collapse coming. Some would call it a global reset. That will introduce CBDCs. If you don't know what that is, you might want to look that up and learn why that's different than Bitcoin. And none of it's really, I can't see a way out. The money's been spent, the cake has been baked, the ingredients are mixed, and the cake's in the oven. There isn't any way in my head that I can see us getting through it without one. What does that mean? Don't know, but I know it's not going to be better than it is right now. So whatever that looks like, that's another reason for me to go. Where we're headed, even during World War I and World War II, nothing happened. Nobody cares about where we're going. Nobody's angry where we're going. Nobody is angry at the people from some other country. They don't have anything for anybody to come and steal. As a global situation, they don't exist, which is perfect when everything else is going to crap, regardless of what that crap looks like. It's just a peaceful place to be. You got great weather and food and water and all that stuff. Sounds good to me. I'll go explore a whole new continent. So that's the gist of the financial collapse from my perspective. I'm pretty sure
So
I'm the money. She's the medical.
yeah, I'm not going to lie with the financial stuff. You'll have me come back and watch videos, and my complete response is, how long is this going to take? Because honestly, it's so far over my head, and there's just so much to know and learn. I can wrap my brain around the basics, but he does a pretty deep dive on stuff, and so I think he tries to save me and only give me the basic.
I do.
When it's important, he's like, okay, this is one you have to watch. So I try and pay attention and try and figure it out. But it's not easy. It's very convoluted and very, it's just sometimes really hard to understand all of the pieces that go together.
There are a lot of terms, and usually I only bring her in as I'm forming a solution, or I see a group of things happening, and somebody will bring something up eventually where they have put the pieces together, and the one or two that I was missing to complete the process, they bring in, and that's when I bring her in and show her a video, so she doesn't in front of the YouTube like I am all day. Mm-hmm. Thousands and thousands and thousands of hours on YouTube and conferences and books, and I mean, I can't even imagine how much of my life has been committed to this. I almost feel like it's another college degree that I never got any credit for. Then there's the politics. Up, down, back, forth, left, right. Can anybody tell me what's going to happen tomorrow? I don't know. Is it going to be better than today? I don't know. And I'm tired of wondering. I'm tired of trying to invest in this for my retirement. I'm tired of worrying about losing everything. I'm tired of preparing for something new every week. It's getting old. I could have just done what we're about to do, what, 5 years ago, and not done anything and taken all that money and lived down there for 10 years and not had to worry about anything. So politics is a factor.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I just think that it's, the politics is usually a touchy subject. It's not something that we will probably be diving into just because it's not, you're never going to please everybody. And so I just, for me, I just feel like people just need to be able to do what they want to do. And as long as it's not affecting other people, I'm fine.
All right, moving on.
Just do what you want.
Why not go? Let's go explore the world. If you get older, I'm in my late 50s. She's just crossing over the 60 mark. If we wait, till we're 68 before we get Medicaid, Medicare, and the full value, what will inflation look like? Or will all that stuff exist? I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, as far as exploring and stuff, that's one of the things I'm really excited about because I have always wanted to go to Machu Picchu. I've always wanted to explore Chile and Argentina, and we're going to be right next door. So, I mean, there's just so much to do and see down there. That part I'm really excited about. And, you need to be able to do this when you can do it. So, I don't know if I turn 70, if I'm still going to be able to travel and hike and, get up into high elevations and continue to do all I hope to. But, you should probably take advantage of that when you can. And so for us, that means now.
Anybody think they can hike not to 9,000 feet after a 6.5-hour trip there in a bus, a car, and a train, and then hike to Machu Picchu? Not going to likely happen. Usually, people have to adapt to the elevation long before they get there, and they pause you for a day in the trip because a lot of people get sick. And by a lot, I mean damn near everybody. I don't think I will have a problem because I practically work at 7,000 feet every single day. And I seem to be fine, but I know there's a big difference as you start to cross from 7 to 9,000 and beyond. So we'll see what happens with that. So that's a positive one. We get to go have fun, guys. We get to go explore things, and they're really cheap. And it's 2 to 3 hours flight and a couple $100. Who cares? Drop over there, and the cost there is damn near the same cost of where we're staying, except Argentina and Brazil. Those two are getting close to the U.S. prices. Cost of living. Wow. Where do I begin with that one? T-bones, guys. Less than $4 a pound. Yeah. Hear that? Did you hear that? Less than $4 a pound for T-bone. There are steakhouses there. Paraguay exports so much food that down there it's everywhere. They can't even sell a mango because it's literally rotting on the ground. As you walk down the streets of Asuncion, the capital, you can just pick one out of the trees that overhang the sidewalks. You got to be careful not to get hit in the head with the food. You're never going to starve in Paraguay. They got the second largest aquifer on planet Earth of fresh drinking water. If everybody drank from that well, it would take hundreds of years to drink it all. That's how big it is. It damn near covers most of the upper part of the continent. You can go, one person told me a story where they took 12 people out for a dinner. This is a catered event. Everybody had 3 courses and drinks. They didn't even crack $100 bill.
That can't be true.
That's what I said, and they even said, yeah, that doesn't sound possible, does it?
No,
Yep, they didn't even spend $100. 12 people. I guess it's cheaper by the volume. They've got what is it? You can buy. I found a 5,000 square foot house in Asuncion for under $200,000, and this isn't some little dive thing. Had a swimming pool, stainless appliances, tile floors. I mean, everything that we would have here. big driveway, and that's in the capital. Can you pick your capital where you live, or the city that you grew up in? What would a house of 5,000 square feet cost you? I mean, it's insanely cheap. Like, it's ridiculous. You can go to the store and buy an orange for a dime. What is it? A massage?
I
Down
don't
there
know. We
about
haven't.
$14 for not an hour and a half, and they don't tip down there. I can tell you, my massage therapist will be getting a tip because when I find the one I want, I'm not leaving. She'll be in the foot rub specialist camp, so it's insanely cheap. You can do things and have things and live a lifestyle down there you couldn't dream of up here. I could probably, she could go get a foot massage and I get a back massage every single day on just our Social Security money. You couldn't spend it. I looked at the most expensive penthouse, 2,500 plus square feet, private elevator, private butler, private maid, the whole 9 yards. Top floor, full view of downtown Seattle. The most you could do was $3,500 a month in rent. Here, it's hard to stay under $2,500 just for a normal everyday Joe apartment. So, cost of living, guys, it's incredibly insane down there. The things that you can do with all that extra money. You might even be able to save money in retirement. Oh, what a concept! Something I didn't even think of. Territorial tax system. For those of you that don't know what that is, that means if I make my money outside of Asuncion or outside of Paraguay, I pay nothing in taxes. Nothing from Paraguay. What you guys also might not know, for those of you who don't travel a lot, U.S. is the only country on planet Earth that does this. That no matter where you go, you pay the government. You get taxed. You want to live in the middle of nowhere, you're still going to pay your taxes in the U.S. So all the money you're making, you're still going to pay the U.S. taxes. So if you don't find a place to go that doesn't have a territorial tax, and there aren't very many left, you're going to pay tax there and here. Kind of kills everything that I just talked about, doesn't it? So your options are going to be slim if you're looking, and anybody out there that wants to call and ask us questions, since most of you watching this at this point, since we're new on YouTube, I'm willing to help anybody, give you info. If you got questions, you're wondering about anything, even if it's not where I'm going, you got someplace else in mind, just give us a call. I'll help you out. Is that it?
I think so.
All right. So stay tuned. Today was about why we're leaving. The next video will be why we chose the place we chose. Stay tuned.